Well, hi, good afternoon. This is episode 91, and my name is Norman Fang, and the, started the orchid nursery at 1986. And today's topic is the tropical lady slipper, and we focus on the multi-eye type. And many of you have this episode also go on to the YouTube in about 2 weeks. So if you are new with us, make sure you subscribe the Norman's Orchid channel at YouTube. So this is what we have discussed the last couple weeks. This is the complex lady slipper. Okay, so there's many type of lady slipper. So we the winter time only the complex, the Bordeaux type lady slipper. We go over that a couple weeks ago. So today we're going to focus on the tropical and Paphiopedium, the lady slipper. Some common name is called lady slipper, and I do not have a lot of species, but there's one. One of them is the miniature barbarian. You see here, okay, and there's another one is colossum variety thailandensis, and the right here, okay. The multi-eye type of the Paphiopedium is actually a colossum of the species by another species called Lawrenceanum. So this is what we call what we call the primary hybrid of the tropical species. So a lot of time, that's why a lot of time we refer this type is the multi-eye type. But most of them are of this tropical type or have about maybe 10, 20 generations from all the species, and you can tell. Take a look at this group here. Okay, director, can we show them a tray of this beautiful multi-eye type Paphiopedium? Look at the leaf. Okay, so this is getting very popular. This is actually very popular in about in the 90s when a lot of this interest in developing of the vinicolor, for example. The vinicolor or this red wine color is actually developed in California, and the story behind this is, I think, what one of my mentors in orchid judging is Naruto Hasagawa. He and Harold Cooperwood owns a company called Pathfanatic, and all this specialize is Paphiopedium. And Naruto discovered a variant of colossum like this, and he bought it from the showroom of the Stewart Orchid in San Gabriel, which is no longer there. And that's the nursery I used to go there when I was in high school. And he noticed, one thing I learned from Naruto is he's very good at observing. He's a dentist by training, so he had to be really focused and what he's doing. He noticed on the sales floor of the Stewart Orchid have a seeding like this and have a short flower bud. And the very dark color, maybe not as dark as this. So most of this will be like whitish color. So he bought it and then he flowered it. So that is known later on as colossum variety Jack. We also call it the vinicolor farm, the vinicolor. Some people call it a burgundy. But this is what it started as a crave for. It was sensational. It was really new in the late 80s and early 90s. In the early breeding, when you cross the colossum Jack, the vinicolor, onto a regular color, what we call the Colorado form. Okay, maybe about 10% of the seeding population will have this, what we call the pigmentation of the vinicolor. Okay, so the growing rate, that was almost like the craze, for tulip, maybe like in 100 years ago in Dutch, without flower, just on the pigmentation. Anything we under the leaf had the vinegar color. A Burmese size like this, it will easily cost you $100. And if they are double saturation, which means they are vinegar color in the back, and a double saturation means they also have this on the top of the leaf, the price also double. So this is how the breeder, obviously everybody want to have the vinegar color. So it was very rare. So supply and demand, and that's how we start with this Maori type. There's an explosion of the Maori breeding, late 80 and early 90. And actually that's one of my favorite. And we also got a lot of award by the Symbiont Society of America and also American Orchid Society on a lot of Maori type. Why do I like about this Maori type? Obviously, you know, I grow a lot of Phalaenopsis. So if you like Phalaenopsis, everybody can grow a Phalaenopsis, whether it's a big standard white Phalaenopsis or the novelty type. If you can grow or flower the standard white or even novelty type, you can grow this type. In particular, in today's modern Maori type, you have a lot of choice, and with the standard type, the vinegar color type, miniature type, or what we call the leopard, the spotted type here. It's a wonderful, and because after 20, 30 years of breeding, they are very, very stable. So now we can offer, for example, American Beauty. Okay, I can say American Beauty that we sell to you, every one of them is going to be all vinegar color, because they are almost at F1 or F2 now. They are very, very stable. Okay, and how many of you have grown this type of orchid before? Give me a hand. Okay, good. Okay, so you just put it next door with your Phalaenopsis. One thing I learned over the years, you know, and it's very hard to kill Maori type. The easy way to kill Maori type is to forget to water them. Okay, on the watering of the Maori type, okay, the Maori type, this is the foliage. Okay, if you take a look, you feel it. It's actually thinner than your Phalaenopsis. So Phalaenopsis usually have a thicker, more succulent leaf. You know, this is actually even thinner than your novelty Phalaenopsis. So a lot of time, and the choice of the orchid mix for them is to use the fine mix, and this is the type of mix we use. We had the fine mix. Okay, we use this at our nursery, but now the fine mix, we also had the bamboo charcoal in there. Okay, so this is actually pasteurized. It's ready to use. It got not just the charcoal. This is bamboo charcoal. It got the perlite and the pumice, and this is the beautiful bark. It's a Douglas fir bark from Oregon. And so if you have to go on vacation, if you're not sure, go ahead and water them. You cannot overwater Paphiopedium, especially in a very good mix. They tend to dry out faster. A lot of time people make a mistake that in the winter time, indoor, that you can actually get into trouble by not watering enough, especially if you go under light. Indoor, because obviously we have a heater going on. The more heater going on, the most air circulation, the bark mix is going to dry out faster. So if you keep your temperature at night inside about 60 degrees Fahrenheit at night, make sure you might want to double or water them, at least check them at least twice a week. And they also they're more particular on the water quality. They're not they're very intolerant of this bad water quality. So our water quality here this time of year is wonderful because it's all local water, and it's the summertime. The water had to import it. I'm in Southern California. The water come imported from. By the time the water from Colorado get here, the EC is high. It is salty, and get lots of calcium. So this is why when I water the plant, everything here is on the Paphiopedium house is hand water, and we always, it's a good practice. We water the plant at least twice. Okay, so if you have well water, it's not that hard to get a well report. You might get if you have well water, get at least 3 times a year, so you know what your well water content, the salt, EC, the electrical conductivity at different season. Your city water, you can get a free copy from it, so they can tell you what is your city water before the fertilizer, for example. So for good practice, I always double water. Water once, 5 minutes later, and come back to water again. Okay, and I'm gonna show you for this is an example. Okay, so this is the colossum variety for Thailandensis. This is what like about the Paphiopedium. When the size like this, they can flower for me 2-3 times a year because I haven't been repotting them. So obviously every spring when you have time, we do the housekeeping. Obviously we have thousands and thousands of plants. So this is the stock plants, so they're not for sale. So they always the last one that got cleaned up. But this is of course Jamie, when she go through a jumper, she never helped me clean up. I should make her clean up. Help me clean up my kit bench. But this is nice. This is what on the Maldia type. This plant is about 15 years old. 15-year-old, and it's still in that little 4-inch pot. And this is in the same mix, but I only repot this about every 4 to 5 years only. That's why when you have a good quality mix like this, we also this palm is not in there. We have this is actually imported from Turkey. When I was in Japan, I noticed that a lot of the I will sell this by itself because a lot of the Japanese Neophornicia grower on the bottom of their moss dome, they have a lot of this, and this pumice from Turkey is fascinating because they have a lot of micronutrient. It's very different than the pumice that we found in Arizona or in California, and they also have a lot of micronutrient, and that is essential micronutrient that is hard to duplicate, even in the fertilizer. So a lot of times on this colossum type or the Maldia type, for example, you can see the difference between the Thailandensis and S3. Colossum thailandensis, colossum form thailandensis is a miniature form. So this is actually a new trend now to create or collect miniature form. For example, this is the colossum, the modern colossum leaf versus the species. You see the difference?
Big difference.
A bit different. Okay, so this is not even available in the 70 and 80 when I was in getting into orchid. So this is a perfect example. Is, for example, this is the hybrid I created and named one of our members, Fantastic Crystal Ray. Okay, it just happened. Crystal Ray is a hybrid between a new miniature species called Barbatum. Okay, Barbatum is a miniature species crossed with my vinicotta one called American Beauty, usually a bigger flower than this. So that American Beauty is actually have a leaf about this size, like this. Okay. All right. So that way you got next generation of. This is actually a first creation that I was trying to create is a miniature vinicolor. Okay. So this is the fun part of. There's a lot of the new miniature species that we are actually using for breeding, and this is not on the website yet, but this is another species called Thompson. Okay, so this is I will have item available maybe in a couple weeks. This is variety Thompson album. So this is another wonderful miniature species that we can make with the green, the Maldia type. So we can create now a miniature green Maldia type. So this is very exciting. Okay, a lot of time in the 90s, this is not kind of overlooked because a lot of the people want bigger and better. But now everybody do not have the leisure to have a big greenhouse anymore. Everybody go indoor under light, so the space is limited. So this is the fun part. Okay, how are we doing so far? Okay, so I have go over the water. What about a feeding? Okay, feeding again. This Norman Fang food. A teaspoon per gallon of water is a very good ratio. You can use it from Phalaenopsis with a Paphiopedium, and again double water because every other week. Everything got the same. Okay, if you are new with us, we always follow the same schedule. You check the water once a week. The next we do it. Mark on your calendar. This week will be your watering day. Next week might be your feeding day. And then the mega dry is the 40 application. Is also every other week too. So you can mark your calendar. A lot of time this water and mega dry or water and fertilizer can be on the same day, but you just water the day before or a couple hours.
It's better if you do fertilizer one week, mega thrive the next week, fertilizer, mega
Yes.
thrive. So
Yeah.
every other week
Yeah. Especially if you go under light. Under light, you have minimum 12 to 16 hours. The plant grow all the time, and one of the month you can do at the beginning of the month or the end of the month. You do a 5-cent solution. Okay, that could be the week of your watering. Okay, it should be the week of your watering. A small teaspoon per gallon of water. Okay, and you should water the plant first, and then do the water, do the 5-cent solution. The 5-cent solution, it will be a good preventative program. Okay, luckily Paphiopedium does not have a lot of the crown rot issue that some of the orchid that the Phalaenopsis. The only thing about watering is, of course, I think we go over this, very similar to the complex path. The way the leaf come up is, you always have this angle like Phalaenopsis. So try not to have water collect here overnight. Okay, so always water. So if it's just measure good air circulation. Then sometime on the older leaf, you go see some of this. Okay, this is just a physical damage remark. This is 5-cent actually prevent from all this is not the one I worry about it. This is part of the old leaf age or spot. You can actually break it away. Okay, the 5-cent have stopped or prevented it from into infection. But this usually we simply just remove it. Okay, and of course this could be damaged when we're doing repolling or moving the plant. So you see that they have this scar here, so they did not have any infection to go over this. But if it bothers you ornamental, or if you go into a show for let's say for Orchid Society show, I usually like to remove this with a clean razor blade. Okay, because sometimes if the judges see the scar on this, it might lose a ribbon. Instead of getting a blue ribbon, it might get a brown or something even screen. But the top of the leaf should be shiny. This is a beautiful leaf. Look at that. Okay, and then depending on the hybrid, a very vigorous hybrid will have another spike coming up. So when this finish in flower in 2-3 weeks and finish, this fan is big enough to flower again. Okay, so there's lots of species involved. I will not get into detail, but I can always tell by the way the leaf, the stem, this have Parfipedium Lawrenceanum in there, and also another species called, one of my favorite species called Parfipedium Marcesianum. One of the things about Marcesianum, the giveaway, is the spike. Marcesianum is known to have spike. It's very thick, and you don't need to spike them. A lot of time, the thinner spike and the spike. This is a trademark for colossum. You know this colossum here? It's very thin. Okay, so this is how an experienced judge or experienced pet person, usually we can tell by selecting, look at the foliage, we can actually guess what is in the species involved. So this is definitely have a very strong Marcesianum in there. Okay, this is a giveaway. This have a lot of colossum in it, and notice how the colossum influence on the leaf shape is thinner. Marcesianum always give you grassy and white leaf. Okay, this is kind of fun. Okay, so this is actually, but a lot of time. But what about this? This leaf actually have colossum in there, Marcesianum in there. But how come the leaf is so light? This is not something. This is nothing wrong with it. It's a genetic. This one has the species called Succucuria in the background. So Succucuria will always give you a lighter green and lighter marking, and also shorter spikes. Okay, so this is why the label is important. The label, and we saw in our website, we try to explain in the description to explain what's behind the breeding background. So anything with Succucuria in the background. I don't have Succucuria in flower. They usually flower in the summertime. Succucuria is the one that give you a lot of spot, almost like black. So this one here, okay, can we do a focus on this? The petal. This is one of the American Beauty. Instead of giving a very big flower, again, look at the leaf. The Succucuria influence on this one here. Oh, by the way, this is the tool that I hired away from Jamie when I was at Sacramento, at San Francisco. This is a Bengal Cat type. You know, everybody know I have Bengal Cat. Bengal Cat has the spot. So this is the influence of the Succucuria. And the Succucuria is kind of fun because the Succucuria, the species itself, have a lot of spot in green. And a shorter leaf, and the beautiful spot. And you can see the green there. Okay, so this is why I sort of like introduce the Mardi type again, because a lot of people kind of have there's not many American breeders doing a lot of the Mardi type. I know my cousin, James Fang at Hawaii, he does some, and we also work with him a lot. But Parfipedium should be more available and should be more grow rarely with your Phalaenopsis or even as a house plant. Okay, this is some of the stuff, and the only thing that you never see or see them a lot at the mass market, because well, first of all, they're slow grower, Sometimes they cannot be tissue culture, they cannot be cloned. So every one of them, the seeding that you buy is unique and only you have it. Unless something Jamie will have offered the selected stuff. And that's something that will be a treasure to have. And so this is kind of fun. So on the multi type, okay, do not try to divide them in a hurry. Okay, let them small. Less is more. Smaller pot is better. Look at how this one here. We will try to grow. This is still in a 3.5-inch pot. Okay, I still have room. They started at 1 grow, 2 grow, and 3 grow, and they still have room for this just in a 3.5-inch pot. The one thing that the perfume pattern do not like is over pot them. Okay, keep it in a small, and look at this. Isn't it a bit more from this? You can have this from this in just 3 years, and still not a lot of a big pot. So the perfume pattern, the multi type, it can actually very rewarding. They don't take a lot of space. They don't use a lot of your supplies. Keep it in a small pot. Okay, and then we call out the feeding, the fertilizer, and the pest. The only pest, the leaf is so thin. The scale don't bother them. The hard scale, no. Or the only occasionally you might see minibud inside the crown, or if you keep your greenhouse very moist. But generally speaking, there's not much minibud on this. Okay, so this is why in the perfume pattern greenhouse, we do have to spray pesticide. I mean, maybe as a preventative, maybe every 1 month. But I usually tell our pesticide applicator, we skip the path house. So that way, because when they don't need it, I do not want to use on them. What about some of the issue with perfume pattern? I went to the greenhouse and I see some of the stuff. Okay.
Do you let them sit in water?
Yes, the perfume pattern can let them sit in the water for a short time, not too long. Like for example, if you during the summertime, if you go on vacation, everybody go on vacation, and you are afraid to let them dry up, that's okay. You can let them do that. Okay, I'm going to show you some of the issue. Might be, I just walk through the nursery and see. What about this one here? What caused this? Can we see? Oh, this is the time to do the turn around. Can you do the turn around, Jeff? The turntable. Would it work? Jeff have a new toy. Let's try this. Okay, put it up there. Okay, let's try this new turn around. Oh, it's kind of slow. Can it be faster?
Turtle speed.
Okay, so this is the new toy we're gonna have. Okay, you see see the side? Tell me what's wrong with the spike. Here. Yeah, okay. This is one of the problems I do not like the pesticide guy to spray my path. This is actually cost. We tell them to spray pesticide, only spray the foliage, but you know things happen, and this sometimes the path may be really low down there, and maybe this is caused by the pesticide, and when the flower bud is way down there. And then if he apply too much, the young bud soak up too much of pesticide. And when the flower spike are developing, probably got lack of water. Okay, so it's combination of this physiology. So the flower bud are cooked. Well, there's nothing you can do. It's nothing wrong with the plant. Okay, Jeff, can I help plant? Okay, so when the situation like this, okay, the way the spike is kind of, the spike is preventing them to fully open, okay, so you cannot really enjoy the flower. So the best part for me in the long run, and Jamie gonna love this because you're gonna get a cut flower. Okay, cut the spike. Why am I doing that? Because that way all the energy is not, the flower can last for 2 to 3 months, but I rather the energy being cut, they're going to reserve the energy onto its new growth. So the next grow up, I'll be more carefully. So what I usually do is at the nursery like this, when they are in bud, even at a very low bud stage, we put it in a different area. So we tell the grower, don't let them dry out. Okay, when the flower spikes are developing, no pesticide. Okay, we don't do fungicide anyway, so no pesticide on them. Just plenty of water, so they are developing nicely and then getting more light. So the spike is nice and straight. Okay. What about this one, Jeff? Okay, put it there, and let people think about what happened to the spike. Yeah. Okay.
It's like merry-go-round. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, this one is actually is. All right. Let me have the plant. This is the same hybrid. This is the fantastic crystal ray, the miniature one. Okay. The cost of this is once the flower are in spike, do not move them. Okay. This one here is perfect example. They got moved. You know, obviously, if you had to separate them in a different area like we do, the staff probably did not follow the original flower face. So instead of facing the light, which is this side, they got this side. So the flower bud, which still have the apical meristem, the growing tips, so it's trying to readjust themselves to facing the light. So they are like this. So once you have the flower spike developing like this, then we notice everything's facing this, like this one here. Oh, good. They gotta come back to face. If they are come up, the flower bud always facing the stronger side. So if you are turn it like this, the flower buds still have a growing tips, so they were trying to face in the light. So it's okay, but think about this. Unless you're trying to do a topiary and really confuse the plant and like this, but that is not good. If that is not a no-no in judging, because in judging if you go to judging for the American Orchid Society, the flower stem is 5 point. Okay, so this is the result of not being straight and turn around. So instead of like this, okay, the plant is just kind of too weak. Okay, and this is also different between the brighter light and too dark. The too dark, the stem is too thin. Okay, and the flower is heavy. Okay, all right. So once they are in spike, do not remove them, or make sure you are facing the same location, same light. Okay, we doing okay? Okay, so always check. The plant will not do things for a reason. Here's another Venustem alba. Okay, here's a good things. My God, look at this. I have another thing about having a Venustem and don't divide it. We just keep repotting them to a bigger plant, not to divide them. So the plant do not, every time you divide or repot a plant, especially divide, it's really a setback to the plant. And this plant, This was flower at October, Christmas. Now it just finished the flower, just cut them back. Okay, the nursery album is a wonderful species, especially the strain we have, and the 79. Now it's a very vigorous clone strain that we originally got from Orchid Zone, and it's not a lot of alba, the selfing we do. It's an outcross. So this strain is amazing. Look at this. Have this flower coming up. When this one finish, this is going to in season again. And this is why the fun part of the multi-eye type is not to divide them, let it grow into a clump. And this is a this is the original plant. Okay, so this is about a 6 years old, and still in a 3.5-inch pot. Doesn't take a lot of space. Even if I had to repot them, I would still have, depending on the root, don't worry about repotting. I will do a segment just focus on repotting Parfipedium, the multi type, the complex type, the Rothschild, we all the multi type, the complex type, the Rothschild, we will do it in one segment. Okay, so but on a regular basis, just do a housekeeping. Make sure the center here. Okay, we cut off all the dead or spike, because that's usually where the insect or sometimes millibug might hide inside the crown. So you want to make sure this is all this old leaf is clear, so there's good air movement in the inside crown. Okay, and just enjoy the flower, enjoy the blossom, enjoy the foliage without the flower. Okay, and what about disease? Okay, here you go. This is a perfect example of one plant that I save when they have a crown rot. Okay, from here, and I save it. I did not give it up. We repotted it. We apply this 2-in-1. So what I did before this happened is, when the crown rot happened, I usually do the Physan first. The Physan was clean up, disinfect the crown to clean up any pathogen. Then we put the 2-in-1, this, and there's number there. I always have 2-in-1, sometimes in my pocket. So as I walk in the greenhouse, I see anything wrong with it. You can have a Q-tip, you can have a tooth, a pencil, just do it right away, a snap in there. That way prevent, and I also save the plant. So this, and then separate the plant into a nice dry area. Voila! Look at this. That's how you can actually preserve your plant. This happened to a very nice, valuable Colossum alba one, so I had to save it. This is very rare. You get a leaf on the. This is the alba strand. So this is actually, and in the meantime, we also apply Megathrive, and this is a nice new grow coming up. Okay. And a lot of time like this. Okay. This is not my plant. We always constantly purchase some seeding from a different breeder. When they come in, we try not to repot them, but sometimes this is the result. Okay, so this is actually, I'm going to put it aside. Obviously, this is not my mix. Not every mix is the same. This mix is very damp. You see here? Okay, very different than my own mix here. So this will be a good candidate for me to do a repotting in about 2-3 weeks. Okay, so lots of time when you buy orchid from different source, even mine, do not repot right away. You just set it aside and then see what happens. Obviously I do not like the mix. They come in. Okay, but anyway, here you go. Okay. About another possible, what about spraying when they in bud? Okay, when they are flower bud like this small, haven't developed, yes, you can actually, it's okay. You can have them even spray Megathright on the spike. I think there's one of my customer, Dr. Joseph Chen. I think I say one of his compressed pad was almost as big as his face, and I said, "What did you do?" He said, "I just keep spraying Megathright on the leaf, on the pot, on this." So it's okay. You can actually get Megathright will actually improve the size of flower, but once the flower open, has a pouch, you do want to make them on the drier side. Let me just show you. Okay, what happens if you have, this is what happens if you have a sprinkler head, overhead watering, or if the people who do the watering not careful enough. Okay, when they in flower, once they open, you do not want to let the pouch wet. In this case, the pouch part, the water part get into the pouch. The water collect inside, so the pouch become senesce prematurely. All this part is still okay, but once the pouch have collect water, and as you in general rule, any standing water more than 2-3 hours, you will have the pythium, a fungi develop. So this will cause the flower to prematurely. So again, live and learn. Cut out the spike and use it for cut flower. But you still can use it. Just pinch out the pouch. Oops, it's too old. Pinch out the pouch. Put the stem out there. Wow, you still can have a beautiful cut flower. Okay. On that. So this is actually very old, so they actually detach themselves already. What I like about a lot of my Maldia type, they last a long time. They actually, it's very good for cut flower. On a fresh open and fresh cut, you can use it. It's actually better for wedding bouquet than the white phalaenopsis because the flower is so waxy. A cut flower like this, if you cut fresh, it can last at least 6 to 8 weeks. So a lot of times, if your perfect pattern lasts for too long, and then you want to repot the plant, divide the plant, or just want to conserve the plant, cut them off, and then use it as a cut flower. Okay. So here's another tray of the American Beauty. So this is actually, again, at my nursery, at the greenhouse, I don't like to use the tool. I just simply use one hand, push it down so you don't pull the plant, and just all this tray is American Beauty, and these are going to go into a separate section, and no pesticide, and make sure that the grower, these are actually ready for sale, ready to ship. We'll do a final cleaning. Look at this. This is American Beauty. It started as a 1 crown, now it's 2 crown, and from that 2 crown, before 4, and from the 4 shoot, it become 8. And this is the fun part about of the Lady Slipper. So when we sell American Beauty, this is what I say, and this is my hybrid, 100% AV print that we send. Look at how consistent they are. They're all black. They are vinicolor. Okay, look at it. And this is also we also do a lot of research developing on this. I'm going to show you this that I haven't shown before. A little trick you can do. Okay. See the difference between this? These are from C, so they're not chrome, so they might have variation. There's a difference between this one and this one. Okay. The difference is this is mega dry using the traditional spray method. Okay. Now a lot of times people ask me, can you soak mega dry? Yes, you can. Yeah, in fact, this is American Beauty, research we do, and I want to see if that by soaking, because actually soaking even better. This is the treatment that make it happens soak, not just spray the leaf, but soak them with mega dry. So when they finish flower, so instead of 1 shoot or 2 shoot, I got 3 shoot at the time. Wow, see, from 1 shoot, this is original growth seeding. Okay, when we finish flower, this is why mega dry is a wonderful tool. Okay, so the reason I do that, because a lot of time when we have one really selected plant or even awarded plant, okay, obviously we cannot clone the Maldia type or most of the Paphiopedilum. People want the division, or people want of the awarded plant. This is one way for me or for breeder. I think now you can use mega dry, the same ratio, 3 ounces per gallon. Okay, sometimes a lot of time you might have mega dry spray, you not finish them. Okay, save those, because with mega dry you got to use it in 24 hours. Save those extra plant, extra solution. Okay, any plant that you think you want to give in, you can do your own research. Okay, even it could be a novelty fat analysis that you want to have a kick. You want to have sometimes maybe the plant already have 2-in-1 cake spray for cakey. Okay, soak it up, get in 5 minutes soaking, and you can also wet the foliage, so they actually not just mega dry on the foliage which is sore, they can also absorb through the root. The reason when we do the research and suggest on the foliage, because mega dry is not inexpensive, but if you have something really treasure, very valuable plant, or sometimes even conservation, you might get an orchid by air, from South America, and then ship by air. The plant is so dehydrated. I usually just let it soak, give it a mega dry bath. Okay, so this is a trick. Okay, voila, you got 3 grow. From 1 grow into 3, and what's even more fascinating for me is they all flower, the shoot come out at the same time, versus without, this is most of the time this is just a spraying. They might come in at different stage, but this is coming at the same time. So what the mega dry does, the enzyme does, is to stimulate and then wake up all the dormant flower bud down at the original crown and encourage them to come up, and luckily in this time they all come out at the same time. Plus we also have a good nutrient, okay, Norman's ultimate orchid nutrient to support the growth, and the Norman's ultimate orchid nutrient also have vitamin B1 in there, so they also give you ultimate root growth. Plus the mega dry also stimulate the root too. So this is this is a trick I think I'm going to share with you today. It's a fresh off the research, and I'm really excited to share this with you. So now, if you have something that of the Paphiopedium that is so waterable or a water plant, instead because the Paphiopedium only give you one shoot every 6 months, sometimes even a year on the complex. So here you go. This is what I call in vivo, not in vitro. In vivo in the greenhouse rapid clonal propagation, and thanks to the help of Megathrive. Okay, so this will complete this week's segment. Oh, okay, Jeff. Oh, Jeff, why don't you put it on the rotation? Okay. This is what I think we showed them several weeks ago. Okay, this is another Phalaenopsis torturima, got crown rot, and then we gave them a Megathrive bat after we used a concentrated 5 cent to kill the crown rot, and then we put the 2-in-1 Norman's 2-in-1 keiki paste into the crown, and then look at the root. It's still healthy and growing, which is essentially to support the keiki coming up. Okay, alrighty. So if you are new with us, this is the essential kit. Okay, this does not have a keiki paste yet, but it does have everything that we have. The Corey will be doing a recap, and then he will have the item number for the 2-in-1 keiki paste. They come in 5 grain, and the 5 grain will last a long way. I always put it in my pocket. You should have one in your greenhouse. If you want to keep it, if you don't use it very often, seal them, put it in the refrigerator. Make sure there's not the seal is for orchid. If you put it in the refrigerator in a cool area, I know a lot of people put it in the garage, and the garage can be really hot and dry, so they might not last as long. But if you put it in the cooler, okay, refrigerator cooler, they can last as long as 5 years. Okay, so with the size I have, I always have, this is why I like to wear this kind of vest. I have a lot of this inside a tool, a tap, okay, and then if anything I see possible of crown rot, or when you divide your orchid, put a tap of the keiki paste on it, especially path too. When you divide the path. Anyway, I will go over this when we do the repotting session on all Paphiopedium. So this will complete this week's segment, and I was thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next week.